Today, the UFC has hired a mercenary to try to come in and take the title from Pantoja. Will he be successful, or will the many men wish death upon me himself win another title fight? Also, what about Ian Gary? Did the young man bite off more than he can chew when he steps in the octagon with the killer that is known as Shavkat Rachmanov? We're gonna find out. Plus, we got a whole smorgasbord, a whole host, a whole bushel of other middle of the card fighters that you probably want to see. There's gonna be some scraps. All of this and more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. What's up? What's happening? Let's go. What's up, guys? We right back at it. We right back with it. It's your boy, Matt. We back off of the Thanksgiving break, back off the little holidays break, and we back to bring it to you. I'm going to be hitting it hard for the rest of the year. Pause. You know what I'm saying? We get ready to drive it home. You know what I'm talking about? So let's kick it off first. UFC 310. UFC 310 going down this Saturday night. And let's start with the tippity top with the main event as we have my guy, Alexandre Pantoja, stepping back into the octagon with first time in the octagon, Kai Asakura. Here's the thing, man. This is what I was speaking about just a second ago. The UFC hired a hitman. You know what I'm talking about? The UFC have hired a hitman because your boy Pantoja is running through the contenders at flyweight. They hired a hitman in Asakura to come in and try to take the Flyweight Championship. Here's the thing. This is going to be a really good fight. When I look at these two competitors, I would give Pantoja the edge on two fronts, and just two. I think Pantoja is a little bit better in the grappling and scrambling portion of the fight. And when it comes to this is the intangible attribute. When it comes to being a dog and having that dog in you, it's got to go to Alexandre Pantoja. Outside of that, Asakura can match him. You know, if they want to strike, homie can strike. If you want accuracy, homie's accurate. If you want stamina, homie's got stamina. You know what I'm saying? If you want fight experience in front of big, humongous crowds, homie's got that as well. You know what I'm saying? But one other intangible I might mention, as I just said, he's used to performing in front of huge crowds. First time under those UFC lights, it hit different. You know what I'm talking about? You know, it hits like a punch from Ngannou. You know what I'm saying? You think you got the perfect game plan. Your coach worked it out. You had the perfect camp, the perfect weight cut. Bro, you get out there, you see little bitty short Joe Rogan with his bald head shining, big chubby DC at the side, John Anik over there, he's popping his stuff. Bro, it hits different. You know what I'm saying? You walk in there with the first time legendary Herbert Dean, you know what I'm talking about? Bro, it hits different. The nerves hit different. Regardless, I'm not saying that's necessarily going to affect Asakura, but I got to go along with Pantoja. You know, I will say that in the last couple of wars I've seen Pantoja in, it does seem that he's relying more on that dog and that heart as opposed to skill later in the fight. You know, I've seen that change in him since he won the title from Brandon Moreno. But at the same time, bro, I got to go along with Pantoja to go out there and get the win. Let's talk about the co-main event. As Shavkat Rachmanov steps in the octagon with Inger steps in the octagon with Ian Gary. Bro, or I guess it's still Ian Machado Gary. I'm not sure. Is he still with his wife? I guess he is. Queen Wag herself. You know what I'm talking about. But bro, let's talk about this. So this is supposed to be Shavkat's coming out party. This was supposed to be his title fight against Bilal Muhammad. Bilal pulls out, got a nasty, nasty foot injury, all type of stuff growing out of his foot. He need time to fix himself. You know what I'm saying? Homie had a Jack and the Beanstalk growing out of his foot. You know what I'm talking about? Go check out the pictures. Bro, he needs some time. So, with that being said, enter Ian Gary. One thing you got to say about Ian Gary, for as much as he gets blistered in the media and he always sticks his foot in his mouth by saying stupid stuff, this young dude, this little dude, he got some balls, bro. This dude, he doesn't give a F who he steps in the octagon with. And that's one thing you got to give him. He is not scared of stepping in the octagon with tough opponents. This dude, he might really be forged out of iron. You know what I'm saying? He's a little soft dude when it comes to his personal life and his wife and all of that. But I find that a lot of men is soft as hell when it comes to their wife and their woman. So that's what that is. But this dude right here, you cannot knock. This dude looks for a tough strength schedule. You know what I'm saying? His strength of schedule is top tier a lot of the time. When you look at the fights that he tries to get versus what the UFC actually allows him to have, this dude is not scared. And that, in a sense, it does remind me of, I know his name is kind of, you're not really supposed to mention him right now. It does remind me of a young Conor in this fact that he'll just take on whoever the buzzsaws are in his division if the UFC allows him. You got to understand, he's called for a lot of tougher opponents than what the UFC is giving him. Shout out to the young dude based off of that. But with that being said, you stepping in there with Shavkat Rachmanov, bro. You stepping in there with a dude with a furry hat, my dude. You stepping in there with a guy that is not worried about any of the finer things in life. And what I'm saying is you stepping in there with a dude that is built from something different. You know what I'm saying? The amount of money he's made in the UFC is not really monumental, but the amount of money he's made in the UFC allows him to live like a king where he's from. You know what I'm saying? This dude is built different. And I think a lot of the times people want to talk about skills and they want to talk about fighting abilities and stand-up and striking and wrestling and all this. But at the end of the day, when you come up against these guys that come from a whole different way of life completely, you know what I'm saying? Dealing with a whole different way of life completely. These dudes are built different. He's not worried about cars, jewelry, chains, the best chefs in the world. He's not traveling to go on vacation. This homie is not worried about any of that. He's not letting his wife kick him out the house and he's locked outside and she's filming him from a window. You know what I'm talking about? This dude is built different. And these dudes, I just find them to be so hard. I got Shavkat to go out there and get the win. You know what I'm saying? I got Shavkat to go out there and get the win. I think Ian Gary will finally be derailed in this. I think he finally bit off more than he can chew. And I got to give him respect for trying to chew this meal. But at the same time, bro, it's a wrap. Let's move on. How about, like I said, this card's got some sneaky fights. How about Cyril Gane stepping in there with Alexander Volkov? Controversial pick. I'm going to go with Alexander Volkov. I think Cyril Gane is that dude, but when you step in there with a guy like Volkov, with the range that he's got, and I know about what happened in the past between Cyril Gane and Volkov, but dude, this is different. This Volkov is focused. His striking looks extremely sharp. He's not going to have to worry about any type of wrestling or anything like that coming out of Cyril Gane. This should just be a stand-up heavyweight war, strike for strike. And I got to go along with Volkov. I think that reach, he's going to be able to keep Gane at bay. I think Gane definitely has the better movement, but the movement won't really matter when you keep moving into that long jab of Volkov and those long leg kicks. I got Volkov, tricky underdog pick to get the win. Let's move on. How about Bryce Mitchell coming off a rough, brutal KO against Chrome Gracie? Bro, I got Bryce Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? The pride of the country boys. You know what I'm talking about? We're not going to get into all his political takes and all of his conspiracy theories, but I got Bryce Mitchell because at this point, Chrome Gracie don't even care to learn how to throw hands. Chrome Gracie could care less. In my opinion, I believe what Chrome Gracie is doing is he's going out there and he's just trying to fight out his UFC contract so he can try to go get on some boxing cards with Nate Diaz. You know what I'm saying? His buddy. So I got Bryce Mitchell to go out there and get the win. How about Nate the Train, baby? Nate the Train. Nate Landwehr stepping in the octagon with Doo-Ho Choi. This is going to be a back and forth war on the feet. You know what I'm talking about? This is going to be a battle. This fight could go either way. I'm just going to make a fan pick on this one. I'm going along with Nate Landwehr. I think Nate's been itching to get back into the octagon. I know Choi's coming off of a win, but at the same time, bro, I got to go along with Nate Landwehr. I think he's going to have the skills to pay the bills. You know what I'm talking about? This is a total fan pick. I don't have any sort of analyst anything to back this, but I'm going along with Nate the Train. We also have, this is clever matchmaking right here. Dominic Reyes, which we're not sure is back yet, but he's stepping in the octagon for a man that will never be back, and it's Anthony Smith. I got Dom Reyes to go out there and get the win. Shout to him, please retire Anthony Smith. Yeah, I'm calling for Dominic Reyes, of all people, to retire another man. Please retire Anthony Smith. We got Vicente Luque stepping back in the octagon with Themba Gorimbo. I got Gorimbo on that one. I hope Luque doesn't get any severe head trauma because we know what he's got going on from his past. We got Movsar Evloev stepping in there with Aljamain Sterling. Tricky underdog pick. I'm going along with Aljamain Sterling. I know Movsar has been looking like the dude, and he's got that tremendous style, that tremendous skill. But there's something about Aljamain that when you see him in the octagon with opponents that you're for sure he's going to lose to, he comes out there, he makes it boring, he makes it a snooze fest, he keeps them to the ground, and he wins a 3-round decision. I got former champion Aljamain Sterling. How about Randy Brown versus Brian Battle? For this one, I think Randy Brown is definitely the more skilled fighter, but I got to go along with Brian Battle because how many times can you dodge that heavy-handed punch of Brian Battle that could dent a Volvo? I got Brian Battle to go out there and get the win. We got Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. I got Chris Weidman this time to go out there and just put this to bed and end Eric Anders. Cody Durden versus Joshua Van. I'm going along with Cody Durden for a little upset again. They done put out Mike Chiesa. Mike Chiesa versus Max Griffin. I'm always going to fade Mike Chiesa. I got Max Griffin. We got Clay Guida versus Chase Hooper. I got Chase Hooper to go out there and get the win. And finally, Kennedy Nzechukwu stepping in there against Lucas Brzeski. Here's the thing about this fight. Both dudes are trash to me. Okay, Kennedy's a nice dude, but I just don't feel like he has a killer instinct. And his chin is extremely suspect. And you can't go off of his last fight because Chris Barnett blew his whole leg out, blew his foot out, blew his knee out by jumping up and down before the fight started. So you can't really go off of him. Now, Lucas, he's had a terrible career in the octagon thus far. He's only got like 1 win, bro. But at the same time, if you look at Kennedy's record, he's only got like 1 win in his last 3 to 4 fights. He's not really used to being a heavyweight, and Brzeski is kind of a big dude at heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably gonna live to regret this. I'm gonna pick Brzeski to go out there and get the win against Kennedy. That's who I'm picking. And that's the card, man. UFC 310. We back. We had a little holiday week off, but we back at it. Well, your boy Matt is back at it. I'm getting ready to break y'all off with all the content we gonna finish the year strong. It goes down this Saturday, UFC 310 main event. I got your boy Alexandre Pantoja. Many men wish death upon me himself to go out there and defend the belt. And of course, I got Shavkat. So you let me know your picks. You let me know who you got in the main event. Let me know, are there any Ian Gary fans or anybody choosing Ian Gary over Shavkat? Let me know in the comments. Guys, please like, subscribe, comment. Let's finish out the year strong. And once again, I do want to thank you for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I check you next time. Peace.